West Coast Cookbook and Speakeasy with Chef Justice Putnam. Netrootsradio.com.
Je voudrais du soleil vert, des dentelles et des théières, des photos de bord de mer, dans mon jardin d'hiver. Je voudrais de la lumière, comme en Nouvelle-Angleterre. Je veux changer d'atmosphère, dans mon jardin d'hiver. À fleurs sous la pluie de novembre, tes mains qui courent, je n'en peux plus de t'attendre. Les années passent, il est loin, là je tombe. Nul ne peut nous entendre. Je voudrais du Fred Astaire, revoir un latte Goël.
What they have done. To be more clear, George W. Bush and also President Obama. So we've been.
Did let his donors come to the briefing room and speak to us.
Okay, and we know what that last president said from this briefing room. Okay, so and only did three or four paragraphs. Very different approach.
Did you hear what that reporter said to White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre during the press briefing on Monday? It was such a mask-off moment where the reporter said the last president, Donald Trump, came to the briefing room to speak to us, to which White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said, okay? And we know what the last president said from this briefing room. Okay, yeah. Donald Trump said he wouldn't agree to a peaceful transition of power. Donald Trump said that we should inject ourselves with bleach. He said like a miracle, COVID was just going to magically go away. He bragged about the ratings that he was getting from his press briefings while Americans were dying in mass. And that's what the press wants. Wasn't that such a mask-off moment? And that's why they hate President Biden, because President Biden's just getting the job done. There's no drama, no all caps tweets every morning that the press loves to eat up. It's no drama when it comes to President Biden, and that pisses the press off. Here's a moment from that press briefing as well where Karine Jean-Pierre says, look, the questions that you're asking, your behavior right now, corporate media, it's entirely inappropriate. Watch this.
And so it is comprehensive. It is out there. I just read a quote from it, but I am not going to devolve somebody's name or confirm someone. I'm not going to do that. That is as privacy for that person. I'm not going to do that. It doesn't matter how hard you push me. It doesn't matter how angry you get with me from here. I'm just not going to do that. It is inappropriate. It is not acceptable. So I'm not.
And their behavior was entirely inappropriate. And what they want, what they've been trying to normalize for 3.5 years, but we, the people, are rejecting it more if you consider the time when Trump was actually in office, disgracing it, or when he went down the golden escalator and started his fake golden escalator and started his first speech by attacking immigrants. They tried to normalize that because for corporate media, this was all good for business. Our lives, we the people, be damned. Because here's what Donald Trump was saying in the press briefing room. And this is what the press was whining about that they want more of. This is the type of stuff that they want to see. When Trump suggested irradiating people's bodies with UV lights or injecting them with disinfectant, bleach, Clorox, Lysol to deal with COVID-19. Play the clip.
Thank you very much. So I asked Bill a question that probably some of you are thinking of if you're totally into that world, which I find to be very interesting. So supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light. And I think you said that has him in check, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number on the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me. So we'll see. But the whole concept of the light, the way it kills it in 1 minute, that's pretty powerful.
Or how about this? 4 years ago, when Americans were dying from Trump's failed pandemic response, he went on to TV to brag about his press briefing ratings. Play this clip.
See you tomorrow. Is that okay? Don't say that I cut it short. They'll say that's right. It could be almost tomorrow. But you know what? In the meantime, I'm sure people are enjoying it. No, I will say this. It's an incredibly dark topic, an incredibly horrible topic, and it's incredibly interesting. That's why everybody is, they're going crazy. They can't get enough of it, and they want to.
Oh, and the media loved when Donald Trump said this, because the media loves being treated like crap. Don't they realize that when Trump says they're the enemy of the people, they're the first that's gonna go? That they're the first that he's going to take over? Or are they so privileged that they think that they're the ones who are going to thrive in the Trump oligarchy and the Trump fascist regime? I think that they're so delusional and feel so privileged that they think that they're the ones who are going to get all the money and they're going to benefit. Here is Peter Alexander from NBC asking Donald Trump, look, what do you say to the American people who are terrified right now about COVID, who are scared? What do you say? Watch what Donald Trump said. Play the clip.
What the hell do you have to lose? Okay?
So what do you say to Americans? Nearly 200 other
John,
200 dead. What do you say the Americans were scared though? I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say.
I
think it's a very nasty question, and I think it's a very bad signal that you're putting out to the American people. The American people are looking for answers, and they're looking for hope. And you're doing sensationalism, and the same with NBC and Comcast. I don't call it Comcast. I call it Concast. Let me just for whom you work. Let me just say something. That's really bad reporting. And you ought to get back to reporting instead of sensationalism. Let's see if it works. It might and it might not. I happen to feel good about it, but who knows? I've been right a lot. Let's see what happens, John.
Or perhaps the media wants more press briefings like this, like the one with Mike Pompeo, who was Trump's Secretary of State, who was asked if there's going to be a smooth transition of power, and he said there isn't going to be a transition of power. Here, play this clip.
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration. Right? We're ready. The world is watching what's taking place here. We're going to count all the votes. When the process is complete, there'll be electors selected. There's a process. The Constitution lays it out pretty clearly. The world should have every confidence that the transition necessary to make sure that the State Department is functional today, successful today, and successful with the president who's in office on January 20th, mid-afternoon, will also be successful. I went through a transition on the front, and I've been on the other side of this. I'm very confident that we will do all the things that are necessary to make sure that the government, the United States government, will continue to perform its national security function as we go forward.
Do you believe there's widespread voter fraud? The reports that we're getting from Pennsylvania, from Michigan, showing vote totals in massive leads or significant leads, with 99% reporting, are going to be overturned, and that the United States failed to conduct a fraudulent free election?
Rich, I'm the Secretary of State. I'm getting calls from all across the world. These people are watching our election. They understand that we have a legal process. They understand that this takes time, right? It took us 37 plus days in an election back in 2000, conducted a successful transition then. I'm very confident that we will count, and we must count every legal vote. We must make sure that any vote that wasn't lawful ought not be counted. That dilutes your vote if it's done improperly. Got to get that right. When we get it right, we'll get it right. We're in good shape.
Or how about when Trump was asked that question? Will you commit to a peaceful transition of power? Play the clip.
Will you commit to making sure that there is a peaceful transferal of power after the election?
Well, we're going to have to see what happens. You know that I've been complaining very strongly about the ballots, and the ballots are a disaster.
And that, but people are rioting. Do you commit to making sure that there's a peaceful transferal of power?
We want to get rid of the ballots, and we'll have a very peaceful. There won't be a transfer, frankly. There'll be a continuation. The ballots are out of control. You know it, and you know who knows it better than anybody else? The Democrats know it better than anybody else. Go ahead.
Right? The press loved that. They ate that up. That's the drama, the theater, the ratings that they want. You know the ratings that I care about? The ratings I care about is the economy. Is the economy doing better now than it was under Donald Trump? Substantially so. Are there more jobs created now? Substantially so. Donald Trump added trillions to the deficit. President Biden continues to build with infrastructure, 40,000 infrastructure projects. Remember when the media, every time under Trump, when the stock market would go up just a little, another great day at the stock market, that means everyone's doing great. First off, the stock market is not an indicator for how we, the people, are doing. But if you want to even go there, it's like double right now under President Biden than it was under Donald Trump. And meanwhile, unemployment's at record lows, job growth is at record highs, wages are increasing at record pace. The GDP right now in the United States is growing faster than China or any G7 nation. Oh, Trump and the MAGAs, drill baby drill. More domestic drilling taking place right now in these United States of America than in the history of mankind and in the history of any nation. And President Biden still leading the world right now in climate change efforts while drilling at the same time. I mean, come on. Those are the stats and ratings that I care about. But here's what the media doesn't like. The media feels that when you have a successful, intelligent press secretary like Karine Jean-Pierre answering questions, they don't like that. So watch what happens at the end of this press briefing. Play this clip.
That he gets every year that we provide to all of you.
It's a very basic, direct question.
Wait. Hold on. Wait a second.
Eight times, or at least once, in regards to the president specifically.
Hold on a second.
That's what you should be able to answer by this point.
Wait, no. No, wait a minute. Ed, please. A little respect here, please. So, every year, around the president's physical examination, he sees a neurologist. That's 3 times, right? So I am telling you that he has seen a neurologist 3 times while he has been in this presidency. That's what I'm saying. I am telling you that he has seen them 3 times. That is what I'm sharing with you, right? So every time he has a physical, he has had to see a neurologist. So that is answering that question.
No, it's not.
No, it is. It is. You're asking me. I also said to you, Ed, for security reasons, we cannot share names. We cannot share names. We have to.
Others he would have met with.
We cannot
share names in regards to if someone came here in regards to the president.
We cannot share names of specialists broadly, from a dermatologist to a neurologist. We cannot share names. There are security reasons. We have to protect. I understand that. I hear you.
Right there for anyone to see.
Ed, I hear you. I cannot from here confirm any of that because we have to keep their privacy. I think they would appreciate that too. We have to give them.
Especially the doctor.
We have to keep their privacy.
It's public information.
I hear you. Guys, hold on a second. There's no reason to go back and forth with me in this aggressive way.
Miffed around here about how information's been shared with the press corps about him.
What are you missed about? What are you missed about?
Everything he just asked about.
And then every time I come back and I answer the question that you guys asked.
Correctly, you have to come back and clean.
I never answer the question incorrectly. That is not true. I was asked about a medical exam. I was asked about a physical. That was in the line of question that I answered.
And by the way, kudos to Corinne Jean-Pierre in how she handled herself there against these hyenas in the press. These hyenas out for blood who would sacrifice our democracy yesterday for Donald Trump. Where's this energy when Donald Trump was found liable for sexually assaulting a woman? Not a peep. Where was this energy when Donald Trump was a convicted felon? Not a peep when Trump was found liable for fraud. Not a peep when Trump led an insurrection. Not a peep. Silence, silence, silence. And it's not just media. Silence is complicity. Complicity is complicity. They're more than just silent. They are agents of fascism right now. That's how they are behaving. Whether they recognize it or not, perhaps they need to look in a freaking mirror.
It is Tuesday, the 9th of July of 2024, and you are in West Coast Cookbook and Speakeasy. I am your chef de cuisine, Justice Putnam. Gunner, the English Bulldog, is our snoozing sous chef. Precious, our little Yorkie, is sleeping in, as she is, of course, convalescing. And that means that we will be seating you directly for our especially special daily special, Tarrytown Chowder Tuesdays. A small scant dash, a mere pinch of hot smoked Hungarian paprika will make all the difference in the world. It always has, and it always will. It will. It always has. Okay, get the taglines out of the way, and here we go. Yes, here we go. I started to give a story yesterday about Limbaugh and Howard Stern, and I think what I failed to mention about their radio personas and how they pursued it. That's a fairly hard industry, and you have to be willing to, pretty much go to what some people will call backwater stations. That's not meant in any derisive way, but it usually means that you're out in the boonies, and I'm sorry, I can't think of a proper term to describe what it means. So you pay your dues, I think, is how it's said. But I don't know. Howard Stern, okay, I wasn't into the whole shock jock thing. And he and Limbaugh kind of invented it in a way, though some might say that the guy, the Big Bopper, the radio DJ from back in the 50s who went on stage with cuffed pants and white socks. The Big Bopper. Some might say he was a shock jock. Some might. And they did. So I wasn't terribly into that type of radio, shall we say. I like to play music. I did. I maybe have liked to patter a little bit. Can you tell? But if I had my druthers, I'd like to have a hell of a lot of music. Anyway, because it soothes the soul. The shock jock, I guess ratings and pointing the finger at yourself is how you make it. And maybe I was offended because, look, it's not as if I have never pointed a finger at myself and said, hey, look. But to make it as part of your business model, not only seems unseemly, to me, it always felt creepy, icky, just icky. I don't know if I could keep it up. So instead, I don't know, I went out to work, played midnight gigs to get the idea of performing out of my blood. Did I ever? I guess not. So here we are. Hey, a little update on Precious. Today I take Gunner in for his checkup. Hopefully he's lost a little bit of weight and we can move on the the surgery on the fold up around his eyes, or at least one eye, that has turned in, and the hairs are irritating the eye, and it's just, I don't want my dog miserable. But I haven't really finalized with Dr. Dickey about the path forward with Precious, because there's a part of me that says, oh, what if there's just like she just miraculously cured herself and I don't have to worry about it? Yeah. Pipe dreams. She's a sick little girl, and at any point they could drop. And so I guess I've prepared myself. It's just that you know how it is with loved ones. You don't want to let go. It's hard. So she's certainly not at the point where we're supposed to put her down. God, I hate that term. But I'm not going to let her suffer the way that poor Ginger suffered, as she did. And you out there who've been with us here at Netroots Radio all these many dozen years and more, that's right, can attest. I can't really have a hospice for a dog or for an animal. They don't easily go out. So I don't want little Precious to suffer. No one does. But she's not there yet. Though, I always worry. Part of the tell is if your loved one animal doesn't want to get up in the morning and see the day. Well, she's been getting me up. Now, that's not to say that she doesn't go back and lay down and stuff. But, she lifted her head this morning. So, yeah, she's okay. I always just worry. Because the way that the radio station is configured, I have my back to where she is. So I'm not able to actually look at this very moment, because I'd have to go out the door, look to the left, and check on her. But when I did, she was just, lounging away. So we'll see how it goes. I always worry. She has gotten to a point where she wants to be held a lot more, which is quite lovely, but it's also quite sad, because it's just another reminder. Yep, our time on this beautiful luminous sphere is numbered. So she wants to get all the loving in that she can, and I think that maybe that's an appropriate way to live our lives. There's only so much loving that we can get, and so much loving that we can give. So we might as well do it. Okay. Oh, I had a tete-a-tete with a fellow out there by the last name of Putnam, which is my last name. How dare he sully the Putnam name? I can attest right now that I come from a higher class of putts. How dare he? Purports to be a great Catholic thinker. Oh, my God. One of those guys. Well, they seem to have quite a following. This guy has 16.5. Did I say million? Nah, it couldn't have been. 16.5 thousand. Maybe that's what it was. I got to go back and check. But I can never understand how these right-wing Opus Dei type freaks have, like, massive followings. Is there that many Russian bots out there in the world for everybody to have? Makes you wonder. Anyway, I don't know why I even bothered, because you know it might be just a complete troll themselves, sitting on a sofa somewhere in Macedonia on hire. But I don't know. Last name of Putnam, kind of, yay, give me a break. So, if you're interested, you can go to my social media feed, Twitter, not X, Twitter, And you can find it. I won't go too much in depth on it other than the fact that, if you want to have an erosion of the separation of church and state, who's to say my heresy is like less than that fellow's heresy, huh? I want due process and equal protection of my heresy. If you don't like it, we're going to have 100 years war. Picks. And whoever else was involved. I like the Picks. Had a little French flair. Have a cassoulet. Yeah, the Picks brought me my cassoulet. Well, they're Scottish. I don't care. They still brought me my cassoulet. They did, too. Brought it to France. Alrighty. Well, what do we have in store for you here as we delve into this? Well, what kind of Tuesday is it? Scary Tuesdays now. Heck, I'm getting a little perturbed by all of the major media. New York Times basically ordering Biden to step aside. It's helpful to remember that the New York Times backed Hitler, okay? Took FDR and others to task for, sullying and insulting Hitler's good name. So let's be clear. They don't have a good history about, staving off the onslaught of fascism as a goose steps across the globe. Man. And then we got I can't watch MSNBC anymore. I try. I hope. I go, now I can do it. And I go, no, even poor Lawrence has to put up with his BS. They're forcing these freaks onto even Lawrence. My God. So, I guess right before the election, too. I don't get it. 14 plus million people voted for Joe during the primaries. He even won states where he was kept off the ballot, not just, inadvertently. It wasn't inadvertent. There was an active effort to keep Joe off the ballot in the primaries, and he won on write-ins. Jill Stein and Marianne Williamson and what was the other guy? I can't even remember his name anymore. They're all woo-woos. Kicked their asses. Didn't even campaign. Oh, well, the fix was in. Really? The fix was in? Yeah, a bunch of voters said we're voting for Joe. The fix is in. That's what democracy is. Deal with it. Give me a break. Right before the convention. Well, Joe said, hey, you want to come to the convention and you want a challenge? Feel free. Joe has the delegates. No one else does. Joe's got a war chest and they want it? Right before the election. Hey, how about us all coming together like they did in France and the UK and they're doing elsewhere all through the EU? Because, as the French said, no one likes the fascists. MAGA says, why do you hate America? Yeah, because everybody hates the fascists. Everybody. And if you don't, that means, I got to tell you one thing. How do you like that rhetorical flourish? I think that's simple for the simple-minded deplorable to understand. And I actually expect them to embrace it, and they have. Project 2025 is but one small example of that. Let us not forget, this has been a decade-long struggle on their part to erect the infrastructure, which has been in place for decades. Let's not forget that either. And then all the while saying, oh, George Soros, he's like an evil man constructing this infrastructure of liberal indoctrination. Oh, my God. I wish he had. Damn it. The Brookings Institute isn't anything alike Heritage Foundation, Federalist Society, the Petersons, the Kochs, the DeVosses, etc., etc., the Mercers. Man, Rebecca Mercer, that, I can tell you, there's some actresses I thought would play her, but, you know, I think maybe the actresses I'm thinking about, and I'm sorry, they're going to have to find someone else now. Yikes. Okay, all of them. Yep. Are we in deep doo-doo? Yes, we are. I just wish that our, well, you know, part of the issue is that our backers of means don't necessarily tout their efforts because, well, I'm not even going to get into the because. That's not to say that the Mercers at all wish that they were, you know, of course they wish they were anonymous. That's what Citizens United is all about. It's not to expose their efforts because it might lead to criticism and they might lose money. They might. Maybe so. Well, Nazism, fascism couldn't exist without Nazi fascist billionaires backing their efforts. And of course, that's how democracy had its success as well, shall we say. Yep. I mean, come on. John Hancock didn't sign, the way he did because he was a, I don't know, small ego. I don't think he was. Could have been compensating. Might have been. So, Tuesday. What else do we have in store for you as I went off on that long rant? Oh my God, look at the time. Hey, speaking of which, actually this is heartening. Billionaire LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman has invested heavily in Smartmatic's lawsuit against Fox. Actually, he's invested heavily in Smartmatic, mostly because of their lawsuit with Fox. So it gives me a different idea about LinkedIn. Maybe I'm going to have to pay more attention to my account there from well over a decade. Well over. Hey, Governor Greg Abbott was not the only Texas bigwig to jet out of the state just as Hurricane Beryl made landfall. Eek. It's sort of like vacation time. Hurricane season comes in. Let's get out of here. Cancun, Ted goes to Cancun. Abbott, he goes off on junkets and makes money. Well, I guess he's, during a crisis, a catastrophe. Wow. And welfare fraudster, speaking of which, fraudster Brett Favre is asking an appeals court to reinstate his defamation lawsuit against fellow Pro Football Hall of Fame member Shannon Sharpe. Yeah, well, I guess he thinks that he's not known as a welfare fraudster anymore. After the break, we move to the chef's table where a Russian playwright and a theater director were sentenced to prison for 6 years each on charges of advocating terrorism. Yeah, this is Putin's unrelenting gambit to pretty much incarcerate and put in the gulags everybody that doesn't like because Putin likes Stalin. And the Brera Modern Art Museum will be inaugurated this fall, 52 years and 39 Italian governments after it was first envisioned. All that and more on West Coast Cookbook and Speakeasy. Bon appetit. are going to tuck into this first offering here right away, and the Bistro Cafe of West Coast Cookbook and Speakeasy, Tarrytown Chowder Tuesdays, and it is by Jeremy Barr, who wrote this yesterday for the Washington Post. Smartmatic, the voting technology company enmeshed in complex defamation lawsuits against Fox News and Newsmax, has a powerful new financial ally. Billionaire tech entrepreneur Reid Hoffman. Hoffman, a co-founder of LinkedIn, has made a multi-million-dollar investment intended in part to help the company sustain its costly litigation. Smartmatic has said the two news outlets smeared it by airing bogus claims of rigged vote counting in the 2020 election. In a statement provided to the Washington Post, Hoffman alluded to the toll taken on Smartmatic, which has spent tens of millions on legal costs related to the suits. Smartmatic built a global business by using technology to better engage citizens, regardless of party or ideology, by making voting simple and trustworthy, Hoffman said. After Donald Trump lost in 2020, however, Smartmatic became a target of the defamatory campaign to overturn his defeat. Not only is Smartmatic a great investment in terms of financial returns, he said, this was a way to provide capital that would allow the truth to be found in the courts. This is a company that is a great company with a great CEO, and this case is a great case. Walker at the Daily Beast brings us this next offering here in the Bistro Cafe of West Coast Cookbook and Speakeasy. Texas Governor Greg Abbott boasted of having very productive meetings with business bigwigs in South Korea yesterday morning, just as Hurricane Beryl barreled into his home state, killing at least 2 people. Abbott's 9-day jaunt to South Korea, Taiwan, and Japan is meant to, quote, drive forward progress in industries critical to the future of the global economy, his office said in a July 5th press release. But he departed on Friday as forecasts showed that Beryl was likely to hit Texas yesterday. Indeed, it made landfall along the central Texas coast early Monday morning. With 70 to 90 mile per hour wind gusts, a life-threatening storm surge, and blackouts that left more than 2 million residents in the dark without power. As of yesterday, 2 people in Harris County died after Beryl caused trees to fall on their homes. Seemingly preempting any backlash, Abbott stressed on Sunday that his trip would likely bring billions of dollars to Texas. So anybody dying, put money into his pocket. quick access to the full articles by these reporters. If you follow me on social media at Justice Putnam, and then that'll take you to the Daily Co's Diaries. I post daily with the show notes and links. So go do that. Yes, do. But not right now, because Kevin McGill from the Associated Press brings us this final offering here in the Bistro Cafe part of West Coast Cookbook and Speakeasy. Lawyers for retired NFL quarterback Brett Favre will ask a federal appeals court today to revive a defamation lawsuit he filed against a fellow Pro Football Hall of Fame member, former tight end Shannon Sharpe, amid the backdrop of a Mississippi welfare scandal that is one of the state's largest public corruption cases. A federal judge in Mississippi threw out the lawsuit in October, saying Sharpe used constitutionally protected speech on a sports broadcast when he criticized Favre's connection to the welfare misspending case. That's a nice way of putting it, as a fraud. It was welfare fraud. Favre hopes the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals will reinstate the lawsuit, Sharpe said during a September 2022 broadcast of the Fox Sports show Skip and Shannon Undisputed, that Favre was taking from the underserved, that he stole money from people that really needed that money, and that someone should have to be a sorry person to steal from the lowest of the low. Mississippi State Auditor Shad White has said that from 2016 to 2019, the Mississippi Department of Human Services misspent more than $77 million from the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program, funds intended to help some of the poorest people in the U.S. Among White's findings was that Favre improperly received over $1 million in speaking fees from a nonprofit organization that spent those monies with approval from the Department of Human Services. The money was to go toward a $5 million volleyball arena at the University of Southern Mississippi, which he attended, and where his daughter was playing the sport. Well, Favre did pay back the $1.1 million, but a February court filing that the former quarterback still owes almost $800,000 large because interest caused growth in the original amount he owed, while he contested that he was not involved in any fraud. Well, that brings us to our break, and when we get back from that break, we will go through weather from around the world, and we will finish up with the stories that we've curated for you today. You are listening to West Coast Cookbook and Speakeasy, and we will be right back.
You are listening to netrootsradio.com.
Please hang up and try again.
From a point at sea to the circles of your mind, a new force is at work for planetary transformation. New radio for a new Earth.
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music.
Ah, this is Mommy's jam.
Then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and catch the bus. Text and miss your stop. Wait. Text and be late to work.
Sorry, I'm late.
Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working. Who, me? Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, it's Tom. Could we humbly suggest your donation to netrootsradio.com? All we've got to run this 24-hour powerhouse of progressive resistance radio is what comes out of our own wallets. And you are our biggest donor. And it doesn't take much, $3, $5. Just go to the bottom of our netrootsradio.com page and hit our secure donate button. Heck, you can even make a recurring contribution, and you'll get a wondiferous pair of Netroots radio stickers for application to your backpack, your bumper sticker, or your banjo. Well, it's up to you which backpack you want to put it on. So donate what you'd like at the bottom of our netrootsradio.com's homepage, because you are our biggest donor. netrootsradio.com. Together, we are Resistance Radio.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. This week, we're looking at the reasons why people don't vote. Research shows that when citizens don't follow the daily news, or when their family and friends don't vote, citizens are less likely to vote. A 2020 Ipsos NPR survey shows a suspicion of news media among non-voters, 80% of whom agree with the statement, "The mainstream media are more interested in making money than telling the truth." Non-voters watch less television, see less news on mobile devices and computers, and are less likely to follow campaigns. Only a third watched part of a political convention, and 2/3 didn't watch a debate. Another factor, family and friends. Only 5% of non-voters say they do discuss politics with family members. 41% never discuss politics with their family. 53% say they never discuss politics with friends. But there is more and more evidence that influence of family members and friends can encourage non-voters to register and vote, particularly among younger voters. A 2016 New York Times article interviewed Henry Brady, Dean of the Goldman School of Public Policy at the University of California, Berkeley. He said, voting behavior is very much a habit. If you've had the behavior modeled in your home by your parents consistently voting, by political discussion, sometimes by participation, you start a habit formation, and then when you become a little older, you'll feel it's your duty and responsibility to register and vote. Links to articles and the surveys can be found at AmericanDemocracyMinute.org. For the American Democracy Minute, I'm Brian Beal.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1935. That was the day transit workers in the Bronx walked off the job in what is referred to as the squeegee strike. These were the days when New York City's public transit was barely organized. 2 of the 3 transit companies in New York City were privately owned, with entrenched company unions. Up to this point, transit bosses had successfully crushed every previous strike. Now, 6 car cleaners at the Jerome Avenue barn had just been fired for refusing management's imposed speed up. Supervisors had replaced their 10-inch squeegees with those that measured 14 inches. They were expected to clean more in a shorter period of time. According to historian Joshua Freeman, author of In Transit, when word spread that the 6 cleaners had been fired, others downed their tools in protest. They demanded, unsuccessfully, to meet with the shop foreman. After several hours of waiting, they discovered that management had removed their time cards. That's when the 2-day walkout began. As many as 70 workers stormed off the job. Pickets went up outside the barn and at the Interborough Rapid Transit headquarters. The regional NLRB office quickly mediated a settlement that forced the IRT to reinstate the discharged workers and strikers, and to answer their grievances. Freeman notes this first strike, though small in scale and brief, was significant. The victory of the squeegee strike immediately built the TWU's authority citywide. It quickly brought several hundred new members into the union. The new dues-paying members provided a financial base for full-time organizers needed to organize New York City's transit. The union would grow rapidly and soon enjoy a number of organizing victories. For more information, go to laborhistoryin2.com, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at laborhistoryin2.
Thank you for accompanying us here to the chef's table at West Coast Cookbook and Speakeasy, Tarrytown Chowder Tuesdays. We always begin weather from around the world along the banks of the Rogue River, in the Rogue River Valley of Southern Oregon on the west coast of the continental United States of America, where it is currently 66 degrees Fahrenheit, expecting temperatures to be cooler than yesterday, only expecting highs of around 106. How do you like them apples? Still near record high temperatures, winds will be out of the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies overnight with lows in the mid-60s. Winds out of the west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Then mainly sunny tomorrow with highs dropping to 101. Winds out of the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Overnight temperatures expected to be in the low 60s, which makes it easier to cool off the house in the morning, I just gotta say. Grass pollen remains high here in Rogue River proper, and boy, I'm scratchy, but also because we had that wildfire smoke yesterday, and that wasn't any fun. The air quality index at the moment is in the good range at 35 parts per million. I was wondering why it tasted and smelled so sweet. And that daytime UV index remains very high at level 5, so take care, and you know how to do it. And if you don't, slather on the SPF, cover up, wear a hat. Okay, please. Barometric pressure is dropping at 29.84 inches, or is that falling? Dropping, falling. You make up whatever you feel appropriate. Visibility is at 9 miles, and relative humidity is dropping. And it is currently at 57%, and it is going to dry out considerably more than that in just about an hour. Weather from around the world is brought to you by a crowd of crowdsourced weather stations that a crowd crowdsources from around the world, and that is the Weather Underground. London is 65 degrees with rain. Paris is 70 degrees, mostly cloudy with a thunderstorm watch. Rome is 95 degrees and fair, and they have a heat advisory. I can see that. Kabul is 80 degrees and fair. Hong Kong is 82 and cloudy. Tokyo is 85 degrees and partly cloudy. Auckland, New Zealand is 48 degrees with heavy patches of fog. San Francisco, California is 60 degrees and cloudy. Chicago, Illinois is 77 degrees, partly cloudy with heavy rain and a flood watch. And New York is 85 degrees Fahrenheit, fair, with an excessive heat advisory as well. And that is weather from around the world, brought to you by a crowd of crowdsourced weather stations that a crowd crowdsources from around the world. staff at the World Desk of the Associated Press brings us this first amuse-bouche here at the chef's table at West Coast Cookbook and Speakeasy, Tarrytown Chowder Tuesdays. A Russian court yesterday, Monday, convicted a theater director and a playwright of terrorism charges and sentenced them to 6 years each in prison. The latest in an unrelenting crackdown on dissent across the country that has reached new highs since Moscow sent troops into Ukraine. Zhenya Berkovich, a prominent independent theater director, and playwright Svetlana Petriachuk had already been in jail for over a year, awaiting trial. Authorities claim their play, Finist, The Brave Falcon, justifies terrorism, which is a criminal offense in Russia, punishable by up to 7 years in prison. Oh, so they didn't have the book thrown at them after all. Berkovich and Petrachuk have both repeatedly rejected the accusations against them. In one hearing, Berkovich told the court that she staged the play in order to prevent terrorism, and Petrachuk echoed her sentiment, saying that she wrote it in order to prevent events like those depicted in the play. The women's lawyers pointed out at court hearings before the trial that the play was supported by the Russian Cultural Ministry and won the Golden Mask Award, Russia's most prestigious national theater award. In 2019, the play was read to inmates of a women's prison in Siberia, and Russia's state penitentiary service praised it on its website. Petrachuk's lawyers said the case against them elicited outrage in Russia. An open letter in support of the two artists, started by the independent Novaya Gazeta newspaper, was signed by over 16,000 people since their arrest. In a country where putting your name on something the government doesn't like means Vlad will arrest your ass and you will disappear. More staff at the World Desk of the Associated Press brings us this final amuse-bouche here at the chef's table at West Coast Cookbook and Speakeasy. The Brera Modern will be inaugurated in the fall, 52 years and 39 Italian governments after it was first envisioned, officials announced yesterday, Monday. The new museum, just a few doors from Milan's Brera Painting Gallery, will house more than 100 contemporary artworks that belong to Brera's collection that have mostly been relegated to storage. The project has been plagued by numerous delays, most recently the discovery of asbestos and problems with the conditioning system. The new museum is set to officially open on December 7th when the eyes of the European cultural elite are already on Milan for the annual gala premiere of La Scala's opera season. The honor falls to the new Brera director Angelo Crespi, who took over in February as part of moves by the far-right-led government to put Italians at the head of key cultural institutions. His predecessor, British-Canadian historian James Bradburn, who had pushed to finish the Modern and completed 2 4-year terms and was ineligible to continue. The Brera, established in 1809, contains masterpieces by Canova, Caravaggio, Raphael, and Hayez. The new museum in the nearby Palazzo Citerio has already drawn 30,000 visitors over 3 weeks for a temporary exhibition. Concerts are planned in the outdoor garden this summer. The Brera, with the addition of the Modern, is expected to reach 500,000 visitors this year, up from a little over 466,000 last year, and in continual increase from pandemic highs of around 410,000. It's a beautiful place, Milan, but very right-wing. And that brings us to the end of our broadcast period for the day, but you do know Netroots Radio broadcasts on, and we will meet up here tomorrow for Smothered Benedict Wednesdays. So do stay tuned to Netroots Radio all day and all night for all the breaking news as it breaks. And we will meet up here tomorrow, right here, in West Coast Cookbook and Speakeasy. Bon appetit.
Je voudrais du soleil vert, des dentelles et des théières, des photos de bord de mer, dans mon jardin d'hiver. Je voudrais de la lumière, comme en Nouvelle-Angleterre. Je veux changer d'atmosphère, dans mon jardin d'hiver. Robe à fleurs sous la pluie de novembre, tes mains qui courent, je n'en peux plus de t'attendre. Les années passent, qu'il est loin, là je tombe. Nul ne peut nous entendre. Je voudrais du Fred Astaire, revoir un latte Goël. Je voudrais toujours te plaire dans mon jardin d'hiver. Je veux déjeuner par terre, comme au long de golfe clair, t'embrasser les yeux ouverts dans mon jardin d'hiver. Pluie de novembre, tes mains qui courent, je n'en peux plus de t'attendre. Les années passent, il est loin, là je tombe. Nul ne peut nous entendre. Ba-da-da-dum-di-da-dum. 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 Dans mon jardin d'hiver. Ba-da-da-dum-di-da-dum. 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 Dans mon jardin d'hiver. Dans mon jardin d'hiver. Dans mon jardin d'hiver.